what it mean to be the best. Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, been in the corner, set my mind up on the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the GOAT. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in to Tell the Truth. We are back here post-combine, which we will hold off for another week because we did get some very interesting news as far as the Chiefs are concerned. Trent Mcduffie, all-pro cornerback, was traded today from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Los Angeles Rams for a 2026 first-round pick that will come in at pick 29, as well as a 5th and 6th round pick in this draft, and then a 2027 third round pick in next year's draft. Crazy news. Wasn't expecting it necessarily to have to happen this early. CJ, how you feeling, dog?
I was in the middle of work and my phone started going off like crazy. Like, did you see? I was like, all right, either we signed somebody or we traded somebody. So, and I immediately got on Twitter and saw Trent's face. I was like, yeah, it was pretty much the writing was kind of on the wall. He's been at LA doing some off-season stuff this week. He's from there naturally, so he's back at home. So, and we all saw the clip yesterday of him doing an event saying he would love to play in LA. I was like, well, he must know something. So it was kind of inevitable at that point. Yeah, man, it's been a whirlwind. Definitely got a Tyreek type feeling. Ironically, almost to the same day 4 years ago. So, yeah, man, it's just a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions for Trent. Man, he's been a amazing player from an investment standpoint. Everything you could ask for from that Tyreek trade to now, he performed and then some. From being multiple-time All-Pro, being a top-5 corner, having big moments in the regular season and the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Nothing you could ask more of a player from a first-round pick, arguably the best first-round pick under Veach's tenure. So I got love for Trent. I definitely did not want to see him go. Definitely would have preferred to see him get signed and stay here and retire a Chief, but business is business at the end of the day. If somebody's giving you 4 picks, which me, DMac, and DG, none of us thought we were going to get that much of a haul back for him. I thought most at max maybe 2 or 3 picks. So the fact that you got 4 and one of them's a third for next year, another top 100 pick, Veach did an amazing job getting value for a player who's still in his prime but played great ball for you. But now you get truly have more flexibility in your free agency with cap space and your draft with 9 picks. So amazing job on Veach's side. Anytime Trent back in the city, definitely drinks on us for sure. We own him.
Yeah, look, it was a shocking deal. My phone started blowing up, and we didn't have a chance to check it until like you said, the notifications just came rolling in. To say the least, I was shocked to be able to say that was going to end up being the deal. Like you had mentioned, I hadn't necessarily expected to be this robust. I thought that definitely it had to be a first round pick. That was the bare minimum. Sure. Being able to get a future pick. Nice. I thought it'd even be a 2027 fourth. The fact that it's third, like you mentioned, a top 100 pick is awesome as far as I'm concerned. And then also being able to add the depth as far as the 5th and 6th in this draft gives you the opportunity to turn over the roster, add the depth similar to what you did after the Tyreek Hill trade. And we'll talk about more of those parallels later on. But specifically because of what they need on this roster, I think it'll help a lot. It also gives you the maneuverability. If you want ammo to be able to move up or down, makes a lot of sense as far as that is concerned too. So I thought this was a really good deal for Brett Veach. And you know, that being said, I don't think it was, you know, a complete like ripoff or anything, because Trent Mcduffie is awesome. He's an awesome football player,
great player.
And also cornerback, incredibly smart. It plays physical, understands how to tackle at a high level, really sticky in coverage. Incredible instincts for the game, and a good guy to have as far as the defense is concerned, just mentally on that side of the ball too. And so the Rams got a really good player today. They absolutely did, and they got better as a result of it. And it will be tough, obviously, to continue to rebuild the rest of this roster without him moving forward. But I wish him the best as far as the Rams are concerned, because McDuffie deserves that. Yeah, he gave a lot to this team to be able to put us in position to have a lot of success from legitimately the second that he stepped on the field. Like his rookie year, he obviously missed some time to start it. The second he came back, felt like he changed the face of that defense down the stretch of 2022. I will never forget watching him in the second half of that Bengals game, and Joe Burrow did not want to take any one-on-ones to Ja'Marr Chase because Trent McDuffie was isolated on him. And there was a lot of Ja'Marr Chase being frustrated with Trent McDuffie being isolated on him for his time here in Kansas City as well. I very much will always appreciate the time that he put in. His Super Bowl 58 performance will be legendary as far as what he was able to do with the 49ers. Not just the blitz on fourth down, but the ability to shut down Deebo Samuel really throughout the entirety of that game. He had an awesome, and really he was awesome the entirety of that year, because of course that 2023 defense was stout in no small part because of how elite that cornerback trio was with Jalen Watson, and of course him and L'Jarius Sneed and what they were able to do too. So Trent McDuffie comes with a lot of memories, all the great moments as far as the Chiefs are concerned, and we wish him the best as far as the Rams. And because the Chiefs do play the Rams next year, it will not be long until they will share this field with Trent McDuffie once again. With all that being said, and we see some of you guys as well, yeah, I mean it every 2 years, just somebody ends up getting traded away, and so the cornerback position makes sense as well. Yep, for picks, I would agree. We'll talk a little bit about the running back aspect of this. We'll also be doing our offensive free agency preview here. So DMac. Also, a quick shout out: DG is not going to be joining us today. For those that do not,
he's logged in.
DG has fortunately had a successful and new addition to his family, and we're sending prayers and blessings to the entirety of DG's family.
DG got the real trade of the year.
Yes, he did. We're so happy to hear that too. Maybe another time we'll get the Shaft look back. TJ, I think we can talk about this. Yeah, we can talk about this. I mean, the possibilities now do open up, obviously, from a money standpoint. Specifically, Trent McDuffie's cap hit was $13 million on the books. You now have more flexibility from that standpoint. There's more flexibility to come. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on as far as Jawaan Taylor officially being released as well. But yeah, I mean, Jalen Watson, depending on where his market ends up netting out, certainly could be an option to come back. And that's really just depending upon what they want to pay him. They also could feel really good about Noah Williams and Christian Fulton and want to go elsewhere as far as the cornerback position is concerned. And CJ, anything you want to add as far as that's concerned?
No, I like J Watt. I know his value like per year, like 12 mil. So that cap space you cleared up with Trent kind of forms an opportunity, like you said, for J Watt to come back. If they're for it and they could work out a deal that makes sense. Obviously, I don't think we're in a place to be turning down more good players, but we also have more flexibility now if we wanted to go younger in that room as well. So if J Watt wants to come back for something in that 12 to he's probably like that 12 to 15 range. That's his market, of course. Would love to get him closer to the 12 end, but if he feels he's worth more money on the market, definitely don't want to overpay for Jalen. I would love to have him back as well because he had a career year last year, actually. Best year of his career, in my opinion. Played very well for us, was consistent, was available, coming off the injury. So we'd love to have him back. We definitely don't want to overpay. I think he's a good player, but I think we can also Veach has shown he can find 7-6 rounders like Jalen Watson, Josh Williams, and find guys that can come in and impact day one. And that's not only a credit to Veach, but more importantly, want to give a shout out to Spags and Dave Merritt, the best DB coach in the league in our eyes, because he's been able to turn all these guys into Pro Bowls and all pros and get these guys paid. And he's been here for a long time for a lot of their journeys. So I love Jalen Watson as a player. Would love to have him back. Definitely don't want to overpay if I don't have to, for sure, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think there's also an aspect of not necessarily needing to be desperate at the cornerback position that also needs to be added as far as that aspect, because there are ways that they are now going to change some things as far as they're operating. And I think the big thing for me is when you're looking at Trent McDuffie's place in this defense, specifically as it pertained to what we've seen kind of over the last year and a half, that was maybe more frustrating. The fact that he was not playing inside as often as we would have wanted. The fact that they insisted upon Shamar Connor playing inside as often as they did a little bit extra as far as that is concerned. Steve Spagnuolo, whether it be the Justin Reed years or the Honey Badger years, like to have three safeties on the field, particularly because of versatility. And obviously Tyrann Mathieu was excellent in that role. And there were some safeties in the draft that could fit that mantra, not as many as you would say in free agency in that aspect too. But I think this now gives you an opportunity for you to say, hey, we have our outside cornerbacks. We could still add some depth there, but let's see what we can do to try and add the versatility back into the safety room accordingly and feel really good about where that looks like in our defense in 2026 and beyond. And so I think that that's something to pay attention to, and we'll find out as we get into free agency what exactly they're targeting as far as that is concerned. There were conversations, I should say, that were had in Indianapolis between front offices and agents that will bear fruit in free agency. We'll find out where they're targeting that too. So Watson could come back depending on where the market is, but we'll see where exactly they want to go. I would not be surprised if Spags wants to get back into that three safety role, which I think makes a lot of sense for the way that modern offenses want to, attack defenses nowadays. And so we'll see ultimately as far as that is concerned too. So that's a little bit as far as the money aspect of it, and we'll continue to get into it as well. I did want to talk about, again, the Tyreek Hill kind of parallels. Again, that 2022 aspect after the 2021 AFC Championship game lost to the Bengals, there were a lot of people that had written off the Chiefs at that point and said, hey, this team doesn't necessarily have it. They just traded away Tyreek Hill, who we know is an offensive pillar. But I think that lost in the shuffle of the overreaction as far as the Tyreek Hill trade is the fact that Tyreek Hill was the third most important person on the offense behind Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, who was running the offense through. And the fact that roster, in my opinion, was a little bit more healthier as far as that team compared to where it is necessarily now. So they were still a team that I had confidence in being a championship contender. I truly did. I made a lot of money on betting on the Chiefs to still win a championship and Patrick Mahomes to still win MVP that year as well, because it's the lowest odds that, you've seen for a while. And so it's a little bit different from this. It's similar in the fact that, hey, you got this guy that's coming up on a contract extension. You want to try and get, extensive value for him as far as that is concerned. Is he the most important guy on your defense? You know, between him and Chris Jones, it's a little bit different because of his age, though. So that's the biggest difference, I would say, as far as that's concerned. The fact that it's Trent McDuffie's first contract extension, where it would have been Tyreek Hill's third contract extension, also a difference there, too. The aspect of the market kind of exploding, a little bit similar. However, they could have got in front of that Trent McDuffie if they wanted to. I think the biggest difference for me from where that Tyreek Hill trade was in 2022 to where this Trent McDuffie trade is now in 2026 is really just, it feels more so like a closing of a chapter in a lot of sense, for that this roster needs some significant work and retooling. And this feels like the proper ammo to now give them the space to be able to do so accordingly. Whereas 2022, it felt like maybe a little bit of reorienting, that it just needed some finer things tweaked as far as the roster was concerned, and maybe just a turning of a page rather than necessarily an entire new chapter. And obviously Patrick Mahomes' injury plays into it as far as that's concerned. But I really do feel like this is now, hey, we're going into what is the second half of Mahomes' career in Kansas City going to look like. And the haul that you get from trading Trent McDuffie, starting with this draft class, is going to dictate the success that you ultimately have on the back half of 15's career for sure. CJ, how do you feel about the kind of parallels between Tyreek Hill and Trent McDuffie?
No, definitely a turning point in the Chiefs, more so Mahomes' career, but definitely in the Chiefs kingdom history, because first time you got rid of a player of that stature and a guy like Tyreek Hill, who a lot of people, even fans in our own friend group, didn't like the trade, and a lot of people crashed out and were very emotional, and rightfully so. Tyreek Hill is one of the most uniquely gifted players in NFL history. So I understood the frustration, I understood the emotion, and it didn't help, like DMac said, that we were coming off a terrible at-home loss where we fell down very short coming up against the Bengals. So it was definitely a crazy time, but I also made a lot of wagers with people about how I didn't think Pat would fall off at all. I thought actually this would help him, because there at times I complained about the offense being too Tyreek and Kelce dependent. He needed to spread the ball around. He did so that. And not only did he play well, he was going on to win Super Bowl and NFL MVP, and went on to win back-to-back Super Bowls. And that's why he's considered the best quarterback in football. So that was kind of a year where I thought Pat was ascending. So I think we were just retooling And obviously we needed some pieces on defense. You were able to do so. Now it's kind of like, this is like the complete change of like, all right, the roster, the team, the mindset, the playbook, everything we want to improve in this roster has to happen now. I've kind of said it for the last couple of months. This is the most important offseason Veach has had since he's been here. Obviously, we all know we're about to close a lot of other chapters. Chris Jones will be 32 soon. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is coming off a very significant knee injury. This is more than likely the swan song, last dance for Travis Kelce. Trent McDuffie just got traded to the Rams. This is a very, very big offseason for the Chiefs. They need to do a lot of things to help them not only set themselves up for 2026, but for the future. And I think today, seeing that trade, Trent McDuffie gives you a lot of more ammo and a lot more wiggle room to make sure you accomplish that goal. So it's definitely a similar time compared to the Tyreek one, but I think this year is more of a time we can truly click and we can truly connect a lot of the missing gaps on this roster, whether it be corner, whether it be safety, running back, receiver, a lot of the areas we want to improve. You can do that now with the 9 picks you have and the $13 million in cap space you saved by trading Trent McDuffie today. So it's definitely a difference, a very, very similar to Tyreek, but a little different because this year I'm not truly like, obviously you're always in contention with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, but we truly have a chance to change our roster for the future going forward. And this is not only for the next 4 years, this can be for the next 10 years. We're looking for our next pillars of the organization. When you have guys like Chris Jones and Kelce, who've been here for over a decade, we need to find our next pillars now. And I think that's what this draft cast we can do, especially when you have the number 9th pick and now today the number 29 pick. So this is a very, very important draft for sure. And I've been telling DMac and DG, this will probably be the most anticipated training camp in St. Joe, probably since 2018. Everybody's going to be very excited to see the draft picks we get, what free agents we sign, what's the offense going to look like, the enemy's back, do we really make all the changes? So many questions that we have, and I think this is going to be a very, very exciting training camp for sure. And I'm just, every day it seems like something new is happening across the league, and the Chiefs looks like so far they're making the right moves. I don't want to seem like I was happy about Trent going. Again, I wanted Trent to stay. I wanted him to be a Chief for life, but I think this is a good move today, and this is going to set us up for success for years to come for sure.
Yeah. And it's just it's a very interesting place to be as far as the Chiefs are concerned. And sure. You had mentioned obviously that it's going to be one of the most anticipated St. Joe's in recent memory. I think that this is going to be a very defining offseason for Brett Veach. We said that we felt, the retool of the offensive line after 2020 obviously was a major storyline. The rebuilding of the defense after 2022 was a major storyline based on the haul that you got for Tyreek Hill. It feels like not only is it, hey, you're rebuilding one specific room, it's not only you're just building one specific side of the ball after after trading a major piece. It feels like now you are building multiple rooms and setting up the future foundation of this team to be back in championship contender status with Patrick Mahomes for the second half of his career. And now you have jump-started that with the Trent McDuffie trade. And what you do with these picks is ultimately going to determine how it moves into the future as well.
Thanks.
I was trying to see, talk about season tickets as well.
Hey, we better hold on to them. We only got a couple of years left, boy. Then we moving out.
Hey, I very much look forward to that draft game every year. We were talking about this the other day. Funny enough, now we can adjust it, I guess, accordingly. But on Kingdom Cast, the fact that I had done the draft game the entirety of the last 2 years, and it was kind of building up anticipation to finally being able to pick it in the first round.
Going early this year.
This year is going to be very different now that the pick is going to be at number 9. But now we still also will have the back end of pick 29 as of right now. And so it's very interesting. But for those that do not know, we do a live draft show throughout the entirety first 2 days of the NFL draft, that Thursday and Friday night. So please do join us, and then we'll jump back on Kingdom Cast kind of live as the picks on day 3 come along as well too. So, and now the Chiefs have more picks on day 3, so that we can talk about those in the 5th and 6th round as well. Speaking of which, let's talk about that draft capital. And I think it's an interesting place to kind of jump in and take a look, because we've been very oriented around what the Chiefs can do at 9 and at 40 for obviously understandable reasons. Now, so there's 2 ways to attack this. I'm going to start at 9, and I'm going to ask you about this. For me now, and I've been very adamant about this on Twitter. I did not think prior to this that a Jeremiah Love or a Sonny Styles was an aspect that the Chiefs could explore because of their narrow pathways to be able to address the long-term future foundational pieces
For
at that
sure.
number 9 spot, which they need moving forward,
Yeah.
specifically more so at premium spots. The fact that now you have 29 to work with, the fact that now you have a third rounder next year, the fact that you have extra picks in this draft, the fact that you also have more money to work with. I think there is more flexibility as far as number 9 is concerned, that if the board doesn't fall perfectly for you with an ideal pick of a Ruben Bain Jr. or Caleb Downs or a Carnell Tate, and you want to go with a Jeremiah Love or a which I put out a mock draft just quickly for what a
I need to
Jeremiah
make a
Love
new
draft
one now
looks
with all
like.
the picks now.
Right. And a Sonny Styles, those flexibility pathways now open up to you because you can still address premium positions more so on day 2 and with pick 29, of course. So I think that that's the big thing for me at number 9. Does anything change for you at number 9 as a result of this trade?
No, my hierarchy is still the same. My priority list has not changed. Bailey's obviously the dream scenario. If we, I don't think he falls anywhere close, but obviously that's my preference of number 1. Then Ruben Bain for me, Caleb Downs at 3, Carnell Tate at 4, and Jeremiah Love at 5. I'm the same way. I don't hate Jeremiah Love. I would love to have him on our roster. It's just other positions of value I would rather have than running back at 9. I would rather clear up running back right now in free agency with the money you saved. So now you can go into the 9th pick with a clear mind, clear picture, a focus of, like you said, attacking receiver, attacking the edge room, pass rush, getting those things figured out. So now you can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, 1 with free agency and 1 with the 9th pick. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so.
that'd be the dream scenario, but we know it's
No.
yeah.
No, and that's perfectly fine. So, well, I guess, do you feel like there's more avenues if those ideal scenarios don't come to fruition at number 9? Are you more comfortable with taking a Love in Sonny Styles as a result?
Yeah, like I don't hate Sonny Styles at all. You just seen the way he tested. Literally the first player I've seen have a perfect 10 score across 3 positions. Was it linebacker, receiver, and
the side-by-side comparison of him and Calvin Johnson.
I don't need any other convincing
to say that you can do that.
You jump like DK Metcalf, run like Calvin Johnson, and he has like a 10-yard split like Julio Jones. I don't need to see anything else. He's a dog. So
crazy. And then again, these are conversations that we were going to have more in depth as we get closer to this. But I did want to then orient it back to also 29 as adult. So obviously picking in a familiar aspect as far as pick 29 is concerned at the end of the first round. In this draft, it's a little bit different, in my opinion, even though it lacks top end talent. I really do like a lot of the possible options as you get into the late first and the second area. So there's 2 things that I wanted to hit. One, as far as pick 29 is concerned, just off the top of your head, and it doesn't have anything specific, but who are some of the guys that would be dream scenarios for you to get at 29, regardless of what happens at number 9?
29, a dream scenario. Caleb Banks. I would love if we were able to somehow at 9, we got one of our guys like Ruben Bain, Carnell Tate, Caleb Downs. If Caleb Banks fell to 29, I would do a backflip. And I ain't did one of those since I was a kid. So I would be ecstatic if we were able to get Caleb Banks at 29. He would make me run outside and scream very loud if we got him, especially to learn from Chris Jones. That'd be ecstatic for me.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I think that, when you talk about dream scenarios, you're going to like this name, but Kenya Sadiq is somebody that I think would have been too at number 9. But if he
I was trying not to be biased.
I know. If he slides to 29, awesome pick. You're talking about who can be the Travis Kelce successor. He can be a Travis Kelce successor. Obviously Caleb Banks would be awesome. If TJ Parker gets there, I think he is an excellent fit for what we want to do, and he brings more juice off the edge, the arc. Than you would expect, even as a classic Spags fit specifically. So I would love if he got there too. Like you said, Caleb Banks, the safeties are interesting. I don't know if I would put him in dream scenario, but Dylan Thieneman, who tested extremely well at the combine. Emmanuel McNeil Warren as well at Toledo also could be a really good fit there as well. I could see that working at 29 or 40 for that matter too. And then wide receiver, I will mention, Omar Cooper Jr. is a guy that's continued to gain steam, and I would love him at 40. But he could also be a really good option at 29. And same thing for Denzel Boston too. So there's a lot of different aspects as far as where you want to go. And the last thing I'll say is this. There's also now the scenario in which where previously I thought that there really wasn't any way that you were going to be in a good position to be able to take the running back 2, in my personal opinion, in this class, or the running back 3 for that matter, on day 2. And I think that would be Jadarian Price at 40 or Emmett Johnson in theory at 79. I think that now those scenarios can again come into play as far as that is concerned if you want to do those. So now there's more avenues again to be able to get these guys. So those are some of the guys that come to mind, and there are others. And again, we will talk about these guys and where we want to pick them moving forward. But that's just a little bit of the flexibility that now is opened up as a result of the trade. With that being said, we can now move into some of the other news that did end up happening. Jawaan Taylor was ultimately released, creating $20 million in cap space. Again, necessary move, was an expected move. I assume that they sniffed around and tried to trade him to see what happens at Indianapolis when they were talking to him, talking to the other teams. Nothing really came to fruition. The Texans and Browns swung a trade, sending Titus Howard to Cleveland as well during that time. And so it's understandable why they ended up releasing him. Nothing really to report other than the fact that the Chiefs have more cap space now, and we're ultimately going to see where exactly their cap space lands. It'll be kind of a dance. Some restructures will come. Chris Jones, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, all restructured candidates. George Karlaftis is as well. Drew Tranquil, Noah Gray are kind of cut candidates as well as far as the vet, market is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to be something to watch. They're somewhere around 20, 30-ish, 20, 25-ish as far as current cap space is concerned. They can still get up into a $60, $70 million range as well. So we'll see ultimately what they choose to do as far as that flexibility is concerned. And that will obviously help to inform what they want to do as far as free agency in addition to that. I believe so for you and the way that you kind of look at it, I mean, are you comfortable restructuring a Chris Jones? Would you want to stay away from that? Are you comfortable cutting a Noah Gray? You got any specific thoughts as far as that is concerned?
I don't hate restructuring Chris. I know he's getting older. He's getting up there. Probably would rather stay away from that one at the time. That's probably like preference of guys I would rather create cap space with. I'm not against cutting Noah Gray. I love Noah as a person, love him more as a player. He's been very consistent, been available for us, and a guy you could always trust. But I think his cap hit was a $7 million this year. I believe so. It was almost, close to the 10. So, yeah, I'm not against Noah leaving. That's definitely a guy I'm okay with. Drew Tranquil, I think we've pretty much, all of us across the board here at Kingdom Cast have been adamant about getting faster and getting more athletic at the linebacker position, especially next to a guy like Nick Bolton. So I'm definitely okay with letting Drew go as well. If we have to restructure Trey Smith or Creed Humphrey to free up some money, both of those guys are young. Those are the pillars, the foundational pieces for your roster for years to come. So those are kind of obvious ones for me. But yeah, the probably only one I'll be kind of hesitant on. Not to say like Chris Jones won't be a good player, but I'd probably love to keep the number where he's at now. But definitely the other moves I would definitely be okay with for sure as of now today.
Yeah, and I think that the Chris Jones pivot point is certainly going to be a fascinating one. I would like to not.
I don't want to have to.
I didn't have to, but I understand if they ultimately did. I think that you can restructure Creed and Trey, get a nice chunk of change. I think cut Drew Tranquil and Noah Gray and feel pretty good about that as well. And I think there are options as far as that aspect is concerned that make a lot of sense too. So we'll see ultimately. And again, we're going to talk about our offensive free agent preview in a little bit. We'll do defense next week, but we are coming up on that new league year and that tampering period that's going to be starting up. And I think there's a key aspect of going a little bit back to the Trent McDuffie trade. The fact that they were able to resolve this prior to free agency opening up. They now don't have to deal with a franchise tag on their books anchoring things down or a massive cap hit that they just can't necessarily figure out what they want to do with an extension, something of that nature. They now can go in and say, hey, we've got this chunk of change. We know what we're rolling with. We can be active on the first day of free agency and target guys accordingly. And I think that's a pretty good thing to be able to say going into it as well. And I'm happy about that. I want them to be able to have that operating room from day one to be able to get it done as well. Now, you know what? I'm glad that he mentioned this specifically because I had bandied this about on Twitter too. Before we completely move off of that stuff and get into the free agency and tag stuff, something intriguing. There's 2 wild cards that I mentioned, and I'll give you both scenarios and see what you thought about them. The first one being the possible scenario in which the Chiefs get to pick 29 after whatever they do at pick 9, and after Ty Simpson, in theory, does not go to the Jets at 16. I believe it's the Steelers at 21, and then the Cardinals. No, not the Cardinals. Hold on. The Browns at 24. That's it. Yeah. Jets, Steelers, Browns. If he gets past that group, in my opinion, then all of a sudden at 29, I think you are going to be one of possible candidates for teams that say, hey, we want to jump the line from the top of the second into the first round, a la the Giants did with Jackson Dart last year, and you can move back and get some extra picks. And I think that's something that is more realistic than what we were maybe hoping for as far as a Ty Simpson jumping all the way up into the top 10, which in theory still could happen. Wild things have happened, but I do agree. It would be great if there was a draft class with a bunch of quarterbacks in the first. Unfortunately, this is not that one. But that is now a scenario that is in play, given you have pick 29. The other one, CJ, I'll run by you. If the Chiefs pick at 9 and 29, whatever they pick, let's say they go defense, like Caleb Downs, and I think it was Caleb Downs and TJ Parker was, I think it was the combination that I said. Let's say that they get to end of the draft day 1, Friday night or Thursday night. Brett Veach gets a call and says, hey, what would you want to try and work out as far as Brian Thomas Jr. is concerned? Would you do pick 40 straight up for him, as if the Jags would be willing to move on from Brian Thomas Jr. for
pick 40? Absolutely.
Right. And so
especially with the ammo you have now, absolutely.
Exactly. And it feels more possible and plausible to be able to do such a move as far as that flexibility is concerned. Now, I don't know if the Jaguars would be willing to do that deal. Of course, I don't know. Maybe it need to be extra change. Who knows, et cetera, et cetera. But that now is something that does come into play as a possibility and wild cards to think of, because that's a guy that not only immediately solves your XY receiver problem, you can now get to multiple lines. So I think that's a big thing too.
Absolutely. I'm down for that one. Another one I think I would probably be okay with. I guess I could probably run it by you. We've all talked about, since we're talking about trading receivers, we've all talked about obviously Brandon Ayuk. Now that we actually have some more picks to work with, another scenario we could go with that. Like, hey, if we get to the draft and there's no move on Ayuk, which I think if he does get moved, it would be before the draft, would he be a guy that we could probably give up? Sorry, what's a realistic pick for a guy?
He's making too much money, and they don't.
He is making hella money on the cap, but he does solve everything for you. And
I agree. But that's what I'm saying. So, and this is the thing. Previously, I was like, you can't trade for Ayuk. You don't have the extra draft capital to do.
Now you do.
Exactly. If the issue is, hey, can you just throw us something to be able to get Brandon Ayuk? Yeah, then we could possibly
make it make sense.
We can go and throw you a late day 3 pick to make that happen now as a possibility. So, those are again.
Oh, those are some good scenarios.
Those are the flex. That's the flexibility in the aspect. I hadn't even thought about the new Ayuk pathway. Thank you for bringing that up. But those are the flexibility that does come into play as a result of having made this trade too. Wanted to get to the last bit of NFL news. There were I think there was the Titus Howard trade, and there was another trade that jumped out.
Titus Howard, David Montgomery.
Went for a 5th round pick to the Texans. It was not a 5th round pick. It was more than a 5th, right?
Yeah, they got a lot. They
traded.
They got Goggins.
Juice Scruggs, a 2026 4th round pick, and a 2027 7th round pick. In my personal opinion, that's a lot of value. Way more than I was willing to trade for David Montgomery. That's just the reality for me. And again, he can pair really well with Woody Marks. I'm not saying that they can't be a good trade.
But that's a lot of value for him.
But that is a lot to trade for me personally for an aging running back that still can give you good pass protection, still can run the ball well. Just not necessarily what I would have done. I'm glad the Chiefs did not do it personally.
Absolutely.
But all's fair for the Texans to do so.
I would have did the same thing. I don't mind paying for him, but not that much.
Yeah. And so as far as the franchise tag is concerned, like the headline here is going to be pretty simple. Breece Hall does end up going to what is that?
What?
I was going to try and put it on screen. There it is. Now it wants to go. Yes, the headline is that Breece Hall does end up getting the non-exclusive franchise tag. And now the big thing is, yes, other teams can negotiate with Breece Hall, but the reality is, even if the Jets decide not to match, it costs 2 first-round picks, which is why nobody is going to actually negotiate.
Yeah, basically he's tied to New York. He's not leaving.
Nobody's going to negotiate with Breece Hall. So Breece
Hall, y'all some busters for that, for real. Y'all hate that young man to do his career like that, but continue.
Yes, Breece Hall is stuck there. Daniel Jones had the transition tag placed on him, which isn't necessarily relevant to the Chiefs outside of the fact that now Alec Pierce will hit the wide receiver market, which in theory maybe adds some flexibility for guys to be able to target. Speaking of the wide receiver market, Mr. George Pickens has a non-exclusive franchise tag placed on him. Won't be any type of offer sheet signed, but does appear that he's going to ultimately stay with the Cowboys. Kyle Pitts had the non-exclusive franchise tag placed on him as well by the Atlanta Falcons. This one was maybe slightly surprising, but I understand why they wanted to control his market and keep him there for another year as well. And then, getting into those that did not get tagged, Trey Hendrickson. As far as edges from the Bengals, Kenneth Walker III also did not tag. Not pictured here is also Travis Etienne. So kind of the big headline is pretty simple. Breece Hall tagged off the market. Kenneth Walker and Travis Etienne do, in fact, get to the free agency market as well, which is worth taking note. Anything that you wanted to add as far as the franchise tag stuff?
No, I think everybody that got tagged was expected. I was very thankful. When they got closer to 3 o'clock, I was like, I just had a feeling in my bone the Jags were going to do something stupid and shiest us and say, oh, we're going to tag Travis Etienne. I'm like, the one guy we wanted, and now you want to be all last minute with it. So I was very thankful to see him make it through the tag window. So I knew there was probably no way you're going to get through that. And all 3 guys, like Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, and Travis Etienne, were all not going to be tagged. We all knew Breece Hall was the most likely one. Sucks to see it. If I was him, I would demand a trade, but that's another conversation for another day. But no, the fact that we got through that period and now we have the actual availability to go sign a guy like Kenneth Walker or Etienne, I'm definitely excited about that for sure. That was definitely the biggest worry on my mind, if both teams would have been aggressive at the last minute and decided we value these guys and want to keep them there. So I think we're in a good spot to now we can try to get one of those guys here in the building for sure.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense too. I feel bad for Breece Hall, but
I feel so bad. 24, top 10 back in the league, he's in his prime. And the funny thing is, we were joking because during the Super Bowl, he's tweeting, I want to play in meaningful games. I want to be in the playoffs. I want to be in the Super Bowl. And I was like, man, there's a team that's willing to get you right now, buddy. And then the Jets say, yeah, you're not leaving. So
yeah, I want you to go ahead and learn East Rutherford, my guy. Personally, I'm not doing the tag and trade thing. I'm just not. That's just me. I know that they're going to want a day 2 pick. I know that
they're going to ask for too much now. So
it's not. I'm good. I'm just not going to do it.
And I was in the party. I was cool with overpaying. Like if we had to give him 14 to 15 million, I was fine because I think he's worth it. And the age makes sense since he's 24. I was willing to do that. Yeah. But now I just you basically made it impossible to get him now. So
yeah, if it was just a money thing, absolutely, I would have given him $16 million if it
got him. I don't care.
It's not a money thing. It's also a draft pick. I'm just good on that. And there are now free agency options that you can go after, which we can now get to as far as that's concerned. We'll start as far as the quarterback position.
We do need a backup.
We do need a backup quarterback and possibly somebody to start the season. Again, I know people feel very emotional about that, suggesting that. But Marcus Mariota is a guy that I think makes a lot of sense. I thought that he played well for the Commanders at times last year.
A lot of sense.
Do some things as far as the system is concerned. Outside of that, it gets very late early. It's
very dark.
It's not great. It's not a great really draft of quarterbacks outside of that that you're talking about. I mean, you get to the point where it's kind of like, maybe we just bring back
Gardner Minshew at
this point.
Gardner, come back, bro.
It's tough, man. I wish
I was drunk, you could probably. This is disgusting. You could convince me of Mitchell Trubisky. I sound disgusting even saying that, but that's the only guy on this list outside of. I mean, obviously Joe Flacco is great, but he's just so old, and I know he's not going to leave Cincinnati, especially given Joe's injury history. Malik Willis is too expensive. Aaron Rodgers is going back to Pittsburgh if he's going to play anywhere. Kenny Pickett has smaller hands than me and DMac combined. Jimmy Garoppolo can't throw past 5 yards. Zach Wilson and Trey Lance are awful. Literally, the only one I could even possibly even somewhat respect outside of Mariota. Mariota would be the home run. I would love that because he's been a starter multiple years. He played us in Kansas City, just played us this past year. He would make the most sense. Yeah, the only one I could even justify would be Mitchell Trubisky. That'd be the only one. And I really don't even want to do that. But if they did it, I wouldn't throw up. I would be mad, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only other guy I can see on this list that I could even justify making an argument for. After that, like you said, it gets real dark.
Yeah.
Jake, oh God, he is.
The other wild card that I'll bring up here is it was floated a little bit as far as obviously the Colts are looking to trade Anthony Richardson. It was floated that maybe the Chiefs would make sense. I believe it's on Yahoo's Football 301 show by Matt Harmon. If there was an opportunity to trade for Anthony Richardson and some type of like Anthony Richardson in the 7th for a 6th,
pick swap. I'm cool.
Yeah, I would be willing to do that. Pick straight up. Yeah, I'd be scared too. And probably somebody else would be more willing to do a pick straight up than us necessarily. But if it's a pick swap, I'd be interested because there's more to him, obviously.
Under the right tutelage, I think he could be good. Especially
if you can add to the project aspect, I'm not saying that you necessarily would end up picking up said fifth-year option, but if you have to play him for a 3-game, 2-game sample size at the beginning of the year and he plays well effectively, then all of a sudden you have an asset exactly that you can flip. And again, it's not necessarily like, oh, you're going to flip him for a first. You can flip him for a 4th, and that would be a very good trade net as far as that
return on investment.
So those are the things that I think are interested. Yeah, I could see Kirk Cousins, but I think that
I know, but it's just God.
No, I think that Kirk Cousins could be.
No, I said it, but I think the money. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I think that
I said that too. I brought it up.
He's going to be seeking out probably a little bit more.
He don't want backup money. That's the thing. He wants to start, and he said that out loud when he was in Atlanta.
Yeah. So that's the thing that's a little bit tough as far as he is concerned. So it's kind of our thoughts as far as the quarterback position is concerned. Let's go ahead and go over to the running back position and look. Obviously, the top two here, Travis Etienne, Kenneth Walker, are going to be the headliners as they should be as far as that is concerned. Do you have a preference between Kenneth Walker and Travis Etienne?
Oh yeah, I've been team Etienne all the way. I low-key have Etienne right now today. I think Etienne's a better back than Breece Hall. I think he's more explosive, definitely faster in the open field. Breece is a good back, but in the open field, Etienne doesn't get caught a lot. I think Breece is an overall better receiver. So I think that in the age like 24 compared to 27 for Etienne kind of knocks him down. But as a player right now today, I would personally prefer Etienne over Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall. But the age does play into a factor. We know Veach prefers younger guys, which 27 isn't old, but you would probably give him a 2-year deal, a 3-year deal if we're bearing like a void year or anything like that. So he would be my preference out of those two.
Okay, interesting. It's a little bit of a hot take as far as Travis Etienne.
I like Breece does like nothing wrong. Like Breece does nothing wrong with the game. He's a complete back. I just think I've seen both of these guys play in person. When Etienne gets to open field, he doesn't get caught a lot. Breece Hall is a good back. He's just not the explosive part. Like we're splitting hairs. I'm nitpicking. So I think in our offense, we need the speed aspect. I think Etienne is the fastest guy after 3, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely understand it too. I think for me, either Travis Etienne or Kenneth Walker.
I'm happy either way.
Yeah, I'd be happy with either. I think that Kenneth Walker's market is going to be higher than Travis Etienne.
Exactly.
I feel more comfortable with that, somewhere in that $10 to $12 million a year range that I would feel great about too. So that's where I do have a preference with Travis Etienne. And I think that I understand why people are like, hey, what necessarily is he, etc. There is his ability, in my opinion, to be efficient down to down could be a little bit in question mark because of some of the finer points of the position that he could use some help with. But to me, the fact that he brings the explosive element that he does, the fact that he can catch passes the way that he does, the fact that he can take advantage of outside zone and bring the breakaway speed that he does, that makes so much sense for this specific offense and this fit to in Kansas City. And then you add in the fact that, hey, he maybe could use a little bit of coaching up on the finer points. Well, yeah. Eric Bieniemy is bringing all levels of accountability. You went out and got DeMarco Murray. Guess what? they should go and make him a better running back with all like that, and that's not necessarily to say it like tongue in cheek, but they should go out and make him a better running back. And so that's where I think, in my sense, that in my opinion, it makes a lot of sense for them to go out and get ETN. And that really does solve your running back position before you go in and go into into that as well. And then some of the guys, you know, it just quickly. So let me just quickly say this: lower tier guys, Rashard White, I think would fit. If you wanted to go after somebody that's further down, Brian Robinson would be a nice compliment to a guy like Travis Etienne too. You could even do a Jerome Ford. In my opinion, that would make some sense as far as that aspect is concerned. And there's certainly going to be opportunities on day 3 if you wanted to draft a running back that you compare to. Rico Dowdle, Tyler Algier, and Kenneth Gainwell. And obviously they're not necessarily ordered this way, but that to me is really the second tier as far as those are concerned. Rico Dowdle and Tyler Algier are more early down running backs, a little bit similar in that standpoint. They bring a little bit of receiving value if you want to. They do both, in my opinion, take pride as far as pass protection is concerned, so they're not complete negatives there. Kenneth Gainwell different in the fact that he gets more so that consistent third down back, certainly a pass protection, but he does bring some early down value too. How do you feel about that group? Where do you land as far as that group is concerned? How would you order those guys? And what would be your level of excitement if you signed one of those, if you missed out on a Walker or ETN?
If I had to rank them, I like Rico Dowdle. I don't like the fact that he said he wants to be the main guy in a backfield, because I don't think that's going to happen anywhere. I think he's a good back, but not that good. For our offense and what we like to do, I think Kenneth Gainwell is the best fit, especially if we have the ability to get a first down back like a guy in the draft, and you can come in and bring a third down specialist like him. He led the Steelers in catches last year. He's very good in pass protection as well, good after the catch. I think for a guy that can come in and have a very specific role, and who better for Bashar Smith to learn from than a guy like Kenneth Gainwell? He's been in the Super Bowl locker room. He's been with the Eagles, been with the Steelers. He's hung around the league for a very long time. There's nobody better to learn from a guy like Bashar Smith, who has a very similar game than Kenneth Gainwell. So he's 26, obviously been in the league for a while, so he can teach Bashar Smith and be a great third down security blanket like Jared McKinnon. So I love everything about Kenneth Gainwell's game. DMac knows I've been banging the table for him for a lot of months now. For a guy I think I would love to sign, and reports are coming out that we're looking to sign guys for the $8 million range or under that. I think he makes a lot of sense. I don't hate, like you said, Rico Dowdle at all. I'm not mad at Algier. Realistically, DMac, I would take B-Rob over those two personally, if it's me. But out of the three you named, Kenneth Gainwell is the number one. As far as fit for us, I would probably rather have him than Algier or Rico.
Okay. Fair enough. I would say, you know, I guess I'm probably a little bit higher on Tyler Algier and Rico Dowdle than others do. I really do think that they'd be really good early down options. And I think you can go out there and pair them with a Rashad White that would make a lot of sense as far as a 1-2 punch in the backfield too. For sure. But and that's really what it comes down to for me. I think that there is a level of competency in the running back room that you could achieve with signing one of those guys, even if you would prefer a guy like Etienne for a 3-down option as far as the free agency class is concerned. DG is not a big fan of Algier.
He's okay. He's a good back. He had 1,000 yards last year, surprisingly. So.
His first year, that his rookie year, he came in with the Falcons, had 1,000 yards and averaged 4.9 yards a carry. I don't know. He's a good running back. Like people, and I think this is where, and I'm not saying this applies to DG. I'm just saying in general. I think that some people are fantasy football pilled in the fact that it wants to be like, why do they keep giving this guy that's clearly not Bijan Robinson touches instead? He's vulturing things. Obviously, he's getting those touches specifically because he's good enough to earn those touches. They understand that he is a good enough back to do those things. And so I don't think it's crazy to also then try and trust him to do those things in Kansas City as well. Now, would I pay him $8 million to do so? I don't know. That's a question mark of where his value ultimately lands. But there's an aspect of saying, hey, do you want to go out and add him to this team? Yeah, I think that I could be talked into that in that aspect too. So if you got a guy like Rigo or Tyler and you paired him with a Rashad, right, I would be happy about that duo going into the draft. And I would say, hey, we could still target a guy on day 3 if it does end up going. Yeah, but Algier, the thing for me is Algier has more quick.
He's more of a downhill back for sure. He's definitely not shit.
He's a downhill back. He has the ability to make quicker cuts than Pacheco, who we know takes a while to be able to
way better vision than Pop, for sure. No question.
And the vision is not even, it's night and day.
Not even close. So yeah.
If Algier works as a downhill back because he actually knows where he's supposed to be going. And again, as we've talked about previously, they need to be running the ball with their great interior offensive line downhill and moving people out of the way. So this, you gotta
like. I'm cool. Probably the only back on this list that I obviously wouldn't like. Like I don't want to bring Pacheco back. I'm out of Michael Carter, Rashad White. He from the crib. Would like to see a homecoming. Not mad at it. He'd be like the secondary.
I'm good on Najee Harris and Austin Eckler.
Najee Harris, all the other guys. So yeah, it's outside of the top two. Obviously, like we said, for me, it's Kenneth Gainwell. Then I would probably choose Algier over Rico Dowdle as well. Again, I personally like B-Rob. I think he's a good back. I think
he's too.
Be a starter for it's just the situations and injuries have kind of hurt him. So
he did a good job, and I think he filled in well for CMC. And it's only because of those injuries, in my personal opinion, that I would say I can't necessarily trust him as far as that.
Yeah, that's probably why, for sure.
But I think that the big key for me, at least, is that the Chiefs coming out of free agency should have one of these top five. And
for sure. One of the guys, if not two.
They should have one of Kenneth Walker, Travis Etienne, Rico Dowdle, Tyler Algier, or Kenneth Gainwell. They should have one of those five guys, in my opinion. And then you can add another back, depending on who you add and who you want to pair him with. Again, a Rashad White, a Brian Robinson, that makes sense to be able to put them together as far as that's concerned. The other name that I do love is, of course, where'd he go? He's further down here. It's Keaton Mitchell. However, he's a restricted free agent, so I doubt it's very unlikely.
He's very explosive.
And you could also look at it, can a Nwangwu or where's that? Jerome Ford. If you want a little bit more of a Nwangwu would be a faster option. Ford would be more a bruiser option. And of course, Kareem Hunt obviously could come back. We will see. No, that is not the way that you're supposed to run the ball. I think we covered the running backs pretty well. I did want to go back up. Yeah, if the Raiders do release Geno Smith, I would be surprised if you could get Geno Smith, truthfully, to just come here and be a backup. But if he'd be willing to, yeah, absolutely. I would like Geno Smith probably second behind Marcus Mariota amongst the quarterbacks that we just discussed, to be perfectly honest with you.
That's very sad, but very true. But I can't say that because I make fun of Geno Smith for the last 2 years. I've been a Geno Smith hater. And not to say he's like a bad quarterback, because he's a fine backup. I think he would be a solid backup for us. But I bet on him to throw an interception every week for like the last 2 years. So I sound like a hater saying, yeah, I want him on my team, but I was betting against him every week. Well, but it does make sense, though.
I can't blame you, though. You were right. I mean, I defended Geno a lot, and I thought that he was a good quarterback up got to Seattle. I thought that it would be a good trade for the Raiders, and ultimately it was a terrible trade because all of a sudden the Raiders just, because you put on the uniform, you can't play quarterback. I wish you best of luck, Fernando Mendoza. But it is something, again, to try and be the backup quarterback. I think would work a lot well for
sure. He'd definitely be the best one besides after Marcus, for sure.
Yeah, but that anytime interception certainly did convert consistently. That is a fact. I will not deny that one bit, and you were right as far as I was concerned. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get so the question I'll have for you is Rico, Algier, White, taking one of those guys, does that for you take running back off the board at 9?
Yes.
Okay. Does that
if I'm able to get at least some type of veteran running back, like you said, I need one of those guys going into the draft. I'm not as hyper focused on running back at 9. Now, if Love is there, and like I said, all the hierarchy of other guys are gone. I mean, if you leave them in front of me, I'm gonna pick
up the change if you leave it in front of me.
I mean, I'm just saying, like if you said Bailey gone, Downs is gone, Tate's gone, even like a guy like Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson, say somebody fell in love with them, and they're all gone before we get to 9, and we already had signed a veteran running back. I'm not against pairing Jeremiah Love with a good back, and now you solve your running back room. So I'm not against that at all.
I think the thing for me is
I wouldn't prefer it, but it's an option.
If you went out and you signed if you went out and signed a Kenneth Gainwell and then took Jeremiah Love at 9, Jadarian Price at 40, Emmett Johnson at 72, let's just say that those are the three for me that like if you did that, then I could understand why that pairing would make a lot of sense, and I'd be very much in favor of that pairing, even up to Mike Washington Jr. at 109 too. So so that is something that I think is worth exploring, and now makes more sense because of the draft capital that you have.
For sure.
Let's go to move over to wide receiver. It's a very interesting group. Not pictured here is going to be Brandon Ayuk, who would be top of my list if he ultimately is cut. But of course, we have to see that happen first. Let's go to the market value. Jawaan Jennings is a little bit overpriced. I would like.
He's very overpriced. Good player. Had a hell of a year. But
yeah, I would like him more in the $15 million range. But because of his blocking ability to be man coverage, also ability to play outside, I think that he is the type of wide receiver we should be chasing as far as that is concerned. You're not going to get in the Alec Pierce market, in my opinion. Wan'Dale Robinson, Deebo Samuel, not a fit. I don't think Rashid Shaheed is a fit. I think that Mike Evans could be a fit. I know he's older. I understand why there'd be concerns as far as that is concerned coming off the injury. However, if he's in a position where he wants to come and win, and I think that would be a very nice addition to our wide receiver room as well.
For sure.
Romeo Doubs. I know people have very mixed feelings as far as he's concerned. He can play the X position. He can beat man coverage. I like Romeo Doubs. Where his market nets out, it's ultimately going to be the question mark. If we're talking about, hey, we're getting into the Rashid Shaheed, Alec Pierce, $20+ million, they can't do that. No,
can't do that.
Romeo Doubs for $15 million, then we can talk about that as far as that's concerned. Yeah, Jawaan Jennings a little bit more in the 12 to 13 range. I don't know what he's going to end up netting at. If somebody wants to overpay him, I just wouldn't personally, but I do like Jawaan Jennings a lot. Then after that, it pretty much gets late early. I still think that Tyquan Thornton coming back could be a really nice option for us. And then it's kind of nobody, in my personal opinion, just going through this list.
I'm down to bring Tyquan back, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm super down to bring Tyquan.
Yeah, I think that you saw what he did. The ability to get down the field, to create those explosive plays, chemistry with Mahomes. I think he makes a lot of sense to come back. And I don't think if you want to even go after a Mike Evans or Romeo Doubs, a Jawaan Jennings, depending on where their markets end up placing them at, I don't think that even precludes you from still going out and getting Tyquan Thornton back on this team, my personal opinion. So, yeah, I think that's a good place to land. Anything else you want to add as far as the wide receivers as a possibility? Anybody catches your eye?
No, this list is pretty disgusting. Not many guys. I bring Quan back for sure. I mean,
kind of nasty. Mm-hmm.
I guess if I had to, Van Jefferson is like MVS's little brother. I don't want him at all. Scroll down. Is there anybody else I'm missing?
Yeah, Tyler Johnson, Juju, Diami Brown.
I'm not mad at Diami Brown.
I'm not either, but it's like
kind of like it.
Do you still get some? I don't know, but he could be a Tyquan Thornton for sure. Consolation prize. We'll put it that way.
I'm pretty much. I'm out.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. It's kind of bad after that, to say the least. It gets
Brandon Cooks. Shout out to Brandon Cooks, man. 24 things, still playing ball and making impact plays too.
He did make some impact plays. So we'll go to tackle first here. And I think that the tackle, we're not shopping at the top. I know that people are like, oh, the Chiefs have a right tackle problem. Well, they got Jawaan Taylor. I mean, they got Jalen Moore. Yeah, the Chiefs have a right tackle problem. Give them
like the
yeah. So I think that you're shopping more so in the backup option as far as that's concerned. And a few guys that kind of stood out to me. Josh Neiman filled in, played some games for the Carolina Panthers that I thought were pretty good, and I think you can get him for a reasonable deal as far as that is concerned too. I'm trying to find – I had some other guys that had caught my eye. I know PMAC does like Larry Borum as an option. Josh Jones, in my opinion, for the Seahawks is filled in admirably when they needed to at the tackle position. I like him a lot as far as being able to be the cheap vet backup to the right tackle or competition if needed as far as that is concerned. So Josh Jones makes a lot of sense too. I think anybody else above that is probably going to get paid just a little bit more than I'd be comfortable with. So those are the two guys for me, Josh Jones and Josh Neiman, that I would be targeting as far as go get a cheap veteran backup option that you know can set a floor for the right tackle position. You shouldn't need them. Jalen Moore should be able to step in admirably just fine to be a serviceable right tackle, in my opinion. Esapola, you want to keep getting work on both sides. Just because he's so young, you don't necessarily want to have to turn to him immediately, even though you had to do last year. Let's go ahead and get a cheap vet tackle option. So that would be the two for me. anybody for you that would kind of stand out as a possible veteran tackle? I assume we both agree that we don't want to necessarily shop in the expensive aisle in this one, though.
We definitely shopping for value. We've had DJ Humphries here. We've experienced that. That's a no-go for me. What okay? Let me see. Charlie, Trent, Sky, Landon Young. Nothing's really legit, man. I mean, Trent Brown was 32 now. God, I didn't know he's that old. Yeah, it's getting dark in here. I mean, anybody who played for Houston, this feel like it's a dog fire. But I mean, they saw something in DJ, but he never got to play. And when he did play, he tore up his knee, like in like the first play, or his hamstring. This list is nasty. Not gonna lie. If these are the choices, I'm signing some guys in the draft, which I like. I have some guys that I like on day 3. So these are my real choices, honestly.
Yeah, I
would have been cool with bringing back Wiley or Allegretti, but not. I think they re-signed Wiley, so shout out to him.
Yeah,
if we're gonna bring back a veteran lineman, so
they re-signed both of them.
Oh yeah, so both of the guys I would have been cool with coming back. Yeah, they pretty much gone. So shout out to those guys.
Would have been the easiest thing if we'd had an opportunity just to.
Do no brainer.
We're just gonna go ahead. We can keep both of them. It doesn't matter.
It's like we're not letting either one leave. Smart move by the Commanders.
Yeah, of course. And I understand why they did, because the offensive line is a tough resource as far as that aspect is concerned. So let's go ahead and move on to the interior. And again, not necessarily going to find a whole lot of options that will stand out at the interior position as far as that is concerned. Seen some solid play in the past by Greg Van Roten, but he's certainly getting up there in age as far as that aspect. Dylan Raditz, if you want to go down that aspect. Will Hernandez, can he stay healthy? That's a massive question mark as far as that is concerned too. So there's not necessarily a lot of great options as well. I wanted to give you the opportunity if there were any interior offensive linemen that you wanted to highlight, though.
A lot of guys we saw in the draft that were kind of reached on. Eichenberg, Cole Strange. It's funny seeing these guys on the market now.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah.
This is just that disgusting. Not too much. I mean, Chris Paul, I could possibly be convinced into. Like you said, Grant Van Noten, that's a good one. Kind of like Simpson. This list is just disgusting. Most of only the good guys are up top. They're all too expensive. Like Trevor Penning up there and those guys. Kevin Zeitler, obviously. Just so old. Jesus Christ. 35. I mean, if he wins an ace in the hole, yes. Pretty much a lot of the same situation. Don't mind any of these guys, but I'm not trying to really pay no money towards them. I just get a young guy in the draft, develop them, and the only good guys you really want to pay are up top. So, yeah, nothing for me.
Yeah.
Sure. Trevor Penning, 26. Okay.
Yeah. Not awful. Could be worse, I suppose.
Could be a lot worse. Way worse.
But yeah, so again, you're just looking for offensive line depth. I wouldn't be surprised if they just end up bringing back Mike Caliendo. Would I want them?
I was just about to say, is there anybody on this list you would take over Mike Caliendo?
I mean,
that's our bar for backup.
Right, exactly. That we're not necessarily trying to reach for the stars. We just want better than him. To be fair, that's just the way it goes. We won't necessarily look at center. We're going to end up looking at the defensive side of the ball next week. We'll have DG back to give his thoughts, and we'll also ask him if he likes anybody on the offensive side of the ball. But new league year is coming, tampering period is starting up, and like we mentioned specifically, they are going to have the ability to have their full complement as far as cap space is concerned, which is great. And what we want them to be able to operate in, and it'll be fun to be able to look at it. I didn't even pull it up on here. Anything else you want to go ahead and mention as far as this is concerned before we go ahead and get out of here?
No, I think we pretty much hit on all the big ones. I think Beach is in a great position, man. Just gotta, if he can go into the draft with a clear mind, clear picture of what he wants to do, and you can knock out whether it be running back or receiver off the board, it makes your picture a lot clearer. So I think he's in a good spot now after what he did today. So next week on the 9th is when the tampering starts. I think we're in a good place.
Yeah,
could be really aggressive now. So
absolutely. So with that being said, let's go ahead and have some fun. We got some brand new picks to go ahead and put to the use.
Oh boy, PFF don't like this one.
Let's run a little mock draft to go ahead and get on out of here, man. Let's start it up. Well, We got Cardell Tate at number 9, man. Like,
well, Cardell, Ohio State receiver, you can't go wrong with him, but it's like a car brand. We stand by this brand. We believe in this brand.
I'm running the card up there, buddy. I'm running the card up there. Running the card up there. 29. Well, that is certainly an option. Kenyon Sadiq there, Peter Woods, Lee Hunter, Zion Young, Christian Miller. I all would be reasonable options as far as this draft pick is concerned, in my personal opinion.
Fact. You went offense, so more than likely you're probably going to assume this is going to be a defensive pick, even though
it doesn't have to be now.
I would love Sadiq. I don't want to be biased. I would love Sadiq.
It doesn't have to be now. You got the flexibility.
You got more picks now. That is true. We do
get some flexibility. You can go elsewhere if you want to.
Hey, bro, Cardell Tate and Sadiq, good luck to the AFC, boy. My goodness.
That'd be a heck of a – oh, man. That'd be incredible.
Oh, my goodness. It don't even matter what happened with
we talked about I feel bad. We didn't even do that. I knew I left out of position. We didn't do tight end at the offensive free agents. Go sign Charlie Kolar to be a backup blocking tight end, please.
I'm with that. He's tall, affordable, and he's available.
Yes. Tall, affordable, and available.
That's what when you want a tight end, you want a big target, you want to be cheap, and you want to be available to play. He can do it.
It's a good combination to have. You got where you want to go for this one?
I mean, I guess I'll be realistic. I mean, selfishly, I would say grab Sadiq and not even look twice. But I'll say
now I will say
was TJ Parker? No, he was gone.
Yeah, TJ Parker did get picked.
I'll go with your guy. I'll go with do I want? I was about to say I'll go with your guy Peter Woods, but I know if you're not too fond of him, but I know some.
No, I don't. Well, at 29, I'm happy with Peter Woods at 29. I just think higher than that would be an issue. But 29 and Peter Woods, I would be happy with that pick. Now Christian Miller, I would have over him.
Me too. I would have Christian Miller over him.
Defensive tackle, but no, I have zero issues with Peter Woods at 29 personally.
I had Christian Miller higher too. I'll go Christian Miller. I had him over Peter Woods.
We'll go with Christian Miller here. Well, actually, let me double check something.
Is there anybody else that we're missing?
Well, I don't want to just do the same draft again because I think.
No, we're good. We've been picking a lot of the same guys.
Yeah, I just wanted because I couldn't remember how exactly I went to that before, but yeah, we're good. So we'll go Christian Miller, and then you get to here, and I think that it's a very interesting combination. Keith Abney can play the nickel if you want him to. Mm-hmm. Colt Hood is more of your traditional kind of outside guy. He does have a little bit of inside versatility as well, but it's not a lot as far as that's concerned. He's more traditional outside guy. So yeah, Keith, you want your nickel guy. R. Mason Thomas, a little bit more of the fast guy off the edge. I love Omar Cooper Jr., but obviously just took a wide receiver. Probably wouldn't double down there. Gabe Yakas out of Illinois is somebody that I really like at the edge position. Eli Stowers obviously had an excellent combine at what he did at the tight end position. Maxine Echanawar, offensive tackle. You want to talk about a guy that could step in at right tackle really this year and beyond, but specifically there. As far as that's concerned, Chris Johnson, really good cornerback prospect. Dante Corleone, interior defensive lineman that we just took, Miller. And then Jadarian Price, who would be running back too in many respects too. I don't really want to move back. So where you want to go as far as this is concerned?
I think at this point, if we were just talking about Sadiq, if there's a way we get to 40, which I don't think Stowers is going to be here, reality. I think you got to go Stowers.
Really? You don't think Stowers is going to be there for?
I don't, based on the way he just performed. So I feel like I've been hearing New England fans talk about they're cool with taking him at 31 now. I've been hearing them talk. And who was that picking in front? And look where Sadiq went. Literally 2 picks, the 2 guys we talked about. Sadiq and Woods literally went right before us. So I think in most mocks, I don't think Stowers gets to 40. I think just because of he performed so well. If you look at Sadiq's numbers, Stowers was literally right there outside of the 40, and he ran good for his size. So I would be ecstatic to get Stowers right here, especially if we had a chance to get Sadiq. So.
Hey, look, I think because of the flexibility that you got, I'm not mad at going with Stowers here at pick 40. So let's go ahead and get to the next one. Romello Height at the edge position, one that a lot of people have certainly liked at that aspect too. I know my guy started to jump off draft boards, which is unfortunate. But oh no, actually, did he come yet? Yeah, he did right there. Commanders got him. I loved Dennis Sutton, and he started to jump up.
Yep.
Yeah, Kamara's another edge that I certainly am fond of as well. You talk about, and we can talk about some DBs too.
I like Romello Height too.
Yep, edge. It's he was. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, and he's a little bit on the lighter side. I think that was why I didn't
240,
like
yeah. But he has the arm length, right? 33 and a half.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does have real length too. Emmett Johnson is here as well. Kayron Crawford, that is not. I don't love him as much, I would say, as a guy like Kamara in that aspect too. Traydon Stukes, who is a guy that I fell in love with early in this process and continued to rose up draft boards.
Arizona had a lot of good corners this year. A lot of good corners.
Sure did. And Stukes is a guy that has true nickel versatility, and you obviously see that as far as his slot snaps are concerned. He can play man coverage, he can blitz, he can be physical versus the run. I think that he would be an awesome nickel in the league as far as that aspect is concerned. Yes, a shout out for Jacob Rodriguez, who tested, I think, even better than you expected at linebacker at Texas Tech. Talk about a guy that could step in and be, kind of Sam on early downs and a Chanel replacement, but also I think, in my opinion, could also be the Will if you so choose on certain downs too. And if you want to move on from Nick Bolton in a year, you could do that too. And then Malachi Fields, I like him at the wide receiver position, but we did take wide receiver to lead this off, so I wouldn't necessarily go back to that well either. Anybody standing out to you? As Jameson Smith also an option, Dale Jackson Jr. also an option too.
I think obviously right here I would probably. I love Dalen Everett. I hate the age, but I like him as a player. Jacob Rodriguez would be amazing. Emmett Johnson. It'd probably be between those three guys for me. I think Darrell Jackson has a shot up draft board, which I'm very excited about. And our next pick is what one of us in a little gap, 109. Who we picked? We picked a tight end. We picked a receiver, so we're good on offense. Down the field, we picked a D tackle. Yeah, I think this would probably be Drew Trank. I love you, buddy, but Jacob Rodriguez about to take that jab.
Okay,
I'll probably go Jacob.
Go Jacob Rodriguez to add to the linebacker room.
A guy that can play Mike can come in and start day one for you.
Yeah. I'm going to make the selection here of Stukes just because I do love Stukes.
That's the guy. We need a corner for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I won't even think twice about it. Give some and again, just because you take Stukes, you still go with safety. I think Taft could be an option. Stroman could be an option here. I wanted to see anybody in the edge. It always gets very difficult at edge once you get past him. Talk about Vincent Anthony Jr., who's, again, more designated pass rusher, but he can get off the edge. You can definitely say that for sure as far as Vincent Anthony Jr. is concerned, too. I don't think there's anybody else that's really caught my eye so far as the rest of this draft class as you go further down. We can certainly look at running back, too, and just offensive tackle and corner just in case. But we got Kilgore, and we know about the versatility that he brings to the table. Mike Washington Jr. He tested so well.
I know. I don't think he's going to be here either.
By the time that we get to this, I feel like he's going to be a day 2 pick dog. Facts.
Ran too fast.
Like it too. I don't know. I could go Taft or Stroman or Kilgore. Either one of those guys. I think Kilgore may be a little bit too similar to Dukes. Yes, I wouldn't necessarily stay away from Taft. Again, a little bit more of that true safety in that aspect. And Stroman, again, a little bit more of that true safety as well. So Stroman or Taft, and then Washington Jr. Ooh, that'd be tough.
It's a tough pick between those three. Got Sicario right there. It's a lot of good options.
Yeah, I think I would.
I like Kilgore, but I'm like Taft is a true too deep. We need you have your guy in Stokes who you believe can play your nickel. So
right,
if that's your nickel guy, then you're probably looking for
more of a deep guy.
Would have a good deep guy playing next to Jaden because we expect not to bring Brian Cook back. So yeah, I'm cool with the 2 deep safety for sure right here. God, I would love Mike Washington. That'd be an amazing value.
Yeah, it would be. We'll go with Taft. We'll see ultimately how
you'll be very happy with us.
Well, I'll take Michael Washington Jr.
You're just gonna leave him there.
Completely unrealistic would never happen.
That's a Delulu pick.
We'll take Vincent Anthony Jr. as well. Get to the end of this. See where we want to go. I like Damani Jackson again. Add to that cornerback group, that outside cornerback depth as well. I think it would actually fit very well with this specific draft. Let me see if we did already take Dowers. Any of the
RJ
Yeah. I don't know. I think out of this group, I would just take Damari Jackson.
I would too.
Adding that outside cornerback depth, I think
explosive guy here for sure.
So yeah, I think that's going to be our post Trent McDuffie trade mock draft. It'd be a fun one. Cardinal Tate, Christian Miller, Eli Stowers, Jacob Rodriguez, Traden Stukes, Michael Taff, Mike Washington Jr., Vincent Anthony Jr., and Damani Jackson as well.
Why do you hit on Vincent Anthony, man? You don't like to get him.
They hitting on your guy, man.
That's kind of nice.
As far as he's concerned, but that was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. So that's where we're gonna head and end it off as far as this episode of Tell the Truth is concerned. Kingdom Cast will be back next tomorrow night. Obviously talking a lot about the draft and the fact that now that Trent McDuffie is traded and what that means for this offseason coming up. PMAC will be here on Friday with his files as well. Going to be interested to see his angle as far as what his thoughts are as far as Trent McDuffie is traded and that concerned. And then obviously next week we'll be back having DG here. We're going to be able to go through the defensive free agencies and also discuss what the stage is going to be set for what that free agency period can look like with the Chiefs and what moves they make in between now and then to set themselves up for cap space. CJ, anything before we get out of here?
Nope, that was it, man. Be tuned in. Free agency will be very fun. Tampering period is next week, so we're getting ready for that. Probably gonna be a lot more rumors coming out now. I think we kind of dropped the ball with out of all the moves, the biggest move, seeing a move go for like that. So I definitely expect some more news to start coming out this week for sure. So tap in. We'll do a lot more spaces as well. DG ran one today, and then we'll do all of our shows. So, and now we're gonna do a live show with the draft when that comes up too. So we may. I thought DG about doing one for free agency day, like when it officially starts, if we have time in the day to do another space for that day. So a lot of action. I think the official offseason kind of started now. A lot of things are getting rolling. So I think Beach kind of dropped the ball. Usually we're not the first one to make a big move. So it was kind of nice seeing us get off the board and get out the way. So
Absolutely. All right. Look, man, looking forward to a lot of exciting things to get ready this offseason as Red Reach goes and retools this roster, man. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you guys for coming by. For CJ and DG, I'm DMac. Peace out. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.